Hey everybody! I literally it's like 1:59. Well, 2:01 according to my computer. To my analog IKEA clock over here, it's 1:59, 2 o'clock. How are you? Where are you guys? I'm glad there's a lot of people in the comments already, and Jeff's here, Daniel's here, lots of people. So Robert Clark, hello, Mr. Jeremy. Hello, Mr. Robert Robert. And Justin, yeah, I've already gotten 4 phone calls. So we're just gonna hang out for an hour or so, maybe a little more. I'm gonna answer questions. It's the same microphone. It's an Electro Voice RE20, which is one of my favorite microphones for this kind of thing. I have another one that stays on a boom stand, but this one, doing a different shot today. What do you guys think of this shot? I have a LED panel hanging right back here behind me, and then I've got some of my favorite things. You can see just the top bits of my guitar pedals up here, and I'm still working on building out an electric guitar pedal board because mine kind of got usurped and moved into electric stuff, but I've got a bunch of stuff on there I'm not using. So anyway, yeah, okay, well, there's a bunch of people in here. Howdy. 82 degrees. Lucky. It's like 41 here today. It's cold. I'm over it. I lost any ability to handle cold weather. I hate it. And but my mini split, you can't see it, but my mini split up here has been doing great. I got a 2-gallon humidifier. I got a big boy. So I'm now living La Vida, 47% humidity. All my guitars are much happier. So good evening from Finland. How cool is that? Man, Finland, amazing. Justin's here. Yeah, Justin just called me just a minute ago. It was fun. Hey, Justin, and Justin asked a great question that we'll start with, and then I'll start taking phone calls. So, Tom is here. Robert Coughlin is here. Paul's here. Sure 5151 is here. Dave Longren. Dave just bought the J185. It's shipping out. I packed it up today. I printed the label. I'm gonna run it to the UPS store after this. Dude, it's a freaking winner. So he got that J185. It's sold on commission by a friend here in town, by Don. Don is the guy, if you saw that video of me, he has an amazing basement full of radios, like vintage Art Deco radios, and then he has an amazing old 47 Wurlitzer jukebox in his basement, and I let that video go. So we played Jambalaya by that's like a song that he always plays for me when I come over to his house. He's the original EP of Wood. Oh boy, my mind is going blank. Hank Williams playing Jambalaya, and so every dollar that video has made has gone to Mr. Hank Williams' estate. It was one of those like it was a copyright claim on my video that like they get every penny from the monetization on that video. So anyway, but got a J185, and it's an amazing guitar, and yeah, keep my number. I can help with camera stuff. Oh, that's amazing, dude. Photography, it's a passion. Like I love it, but it is hard earned. I kind of looked at it recently. I was like, man, I'm like 6 years into obsessing over cameras, and I just happen to, like, some people get into YouTube just to make videos. I got into videos, and then it immediately was like, oh wow, I love photography, I love composition, I love the artistic. I think somebody's calling. So hang on one second. Okay, a bunch of people. Photography is awesome. All right, here comes our first question. Here we go. Hey, what's up? It's Jeremy.
Oh man, I can't believe it. I tried calling a minute ago, man. I didn't know if this was real or not.
Yeah, this is real. This is this is my cell phone. And are you watching on YouTube as well?
I sure am, man.
Sweet. Who's this?
All the videos you make, man. You're very inspiring.
Oh, thanks, man. That means a lot. So what's your name?
My name's Justin, man. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Justin from Indy. Cool.
I've been following you for a while now, man. I'm trying to get into I've been playing guitar for about a year now, I guess. I'm making progress, but I'm really trying to get into it. I like what you do, buying and selling and making money, man. And I mean, it seems like you're living the best life you can, and I'm trying to follow that path.
That's cool, man. Well, I want to help. I think that success is an infinite resource, and so there's room for all of us. Yeah, and I'm Definitely. Still, I've got 3 little kids, and you know, like I'm talking to a camera as if it's a person for a business. So the dream is coming. We're getting there, but I definitely am, like, I'm very thankful I get to have really cool guitars. And my favorite thing is just like hearing stories of people buying and selling guitars. But yeah, do you have any questions, or do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, like I said, man, you're very inspiring to a lot of people out here. I mean, I can only speak on my behalf, but I know there's a lot of people out here that feel the same way as I do. And there's a lot of people out here that really want to live the life you're living, you know what I mean? And my question is, I guess, you know, how do you go about figuring out, you know, if you're buying a, you know, say a guitar or a vintage guitar, how do you know what's a good buy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're looking at something, how do you know, okay, this is going to be worth more than I'm paying in the end?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So, how do you know the values of guitars? And so that's one of the things. And this is, if it's gonna feel like a shameless plug, and it's not, but this is like one of the things I cover in like really spectacular long form detail in the course Write Guitars Faster. But in that course, I cover. There's kind of 4 ways that you generally know how much a guitar is worth. Number 1, you're going to look at the Vintage Price Guide, which I have a copy. I don't know if you have a copy of one of those, but you can it's made by Vintage Guitar Magazine, and it's a good
Vintage Guitar Magazine.
Yeah, so they do a price guide each year. It's the Vintage Guitar Price Guide. There probably is a link in the description in the video down below. But in that, that's kind of like if you invest money in like a 401k, or if you have an IRA, if you look at these like mutual funds, they'll give you a 15-year rolling average of what their fund has produced. And that's kind of like what the Vintage Guitar Guide does, because it's really helpful to so it's not super accurate year to year, but it gives you like a general overall. So there are 2 books I always think you should have. One gives you values. One is just techie stuff. So one is the Gruen, the Guide to Vintage Guitars, because that'll help you see when you're looking in. Like I took it when I went to get all those guitars from my kindergarten teacher a couple weeks ago. Because it's like, well, I know it's I know it's a Southern Jumbo and it's a square shoulder, but it doesn't have a Norland sticker, but it has screws in the pickguard. So like for me, using the Gruen guide, it's really detailed, and it'll say, oh, in late '66 they started adding screws to the pickguard on this guitar, or they'll give you those details that even if you're the most nerdy of us, you're not going to know all the details on all the guitars. But anyway, so that's one. So the Vintage Guitar Price Guide is really awesome. It's usually wrong, but I think if you're saying like, and when I say wrong, it's usually low. Sometimes it's too high, but it's too zoomed out on the spreadsheet. Another way to check out if a guitar is worth it is, do you know how to look for eBay completed listings?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another one. It's not as helpful, but that's one that's just, like a quick search, like, all right, what are people paying for these? But, with eBay, they're giving away 12 to 14%, so you got to take that into consideration. Reverb is getting better about giving their price guide. The problem with Reverb is that it only sees Reverb, and Reverb is just way higher than everywhere else.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. I haven't really been a big fan of Reverb, I'm not going to lie. I've just...
Yep.
But I'm very thankful for the lead you gave me, man.
Oh yeah, sure, man.
Definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, if you want, check out the course. It's like I cover it in long form. I kind of talk about like how to get the most money out of a private party deal or a guitar shop, or so I cover it with more emphasis. But that's a good head start.
Are them videos on your page? Or?
So if you go so if you go to
I've been following you for about
7
months now, I think. I've seen most of your videos, man.
Cool.
I love them. I haven't seen all of them. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I don't think I've seen all of them. But yeah. No, I've watched myself talk for a long time. But so in the link in the description in this video down below, it's guitar-hunter.teachable.com. Fishman.com. That'll take you to the course. So the course, it's $147, which I feel I mean, it's an expensive thing, but at the same time, like, there's no possible way if you're in this guitar hunting world that you're going to save that on the first guitar that you buy. So cool. I got another call coming, but
that might be considered a lot of money by a lot of people, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
well, like you just said, I mean, if you're really chasing this, you know what I mean, and you're really wholehearted with it, you know, it will pay off in the end. Yeah,
and that's where I don't know of another resource. I mean, because it took me 20 years to figure out the stuff that I packed into that. It's like 6 hours, 19 videos. But cool, man. I got to run. More people are calling. But Justin, it was great talking to you, man. Thanks for everything.
Thanks for your time, buddy. I appreciate it, man.
All right, absolutely. Thank you. All right, somebody just called and I missed it. I've got a couple missed calls here. I'll just call them right back. Oh, Rich Shull just posted a video. He broke his guitar. Let's call this first one. Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Calling somebody in Florida. 317. Is this you? Who's this? Daniel Riccobono's here. That's awesome. Tyler Heron's here. Hey, buddy.
Hello?
Hello, this is Jeremy.
I just talked to you, man. This
is Justin. Got it, Justin. Okay. All right. Never mind. I'm going to call the next number. See ya.
Right on, man.
All right. 203. Somebody in Georgia. The D55 is not. I had to send it back to Guild. I begged and pleaded to get to own that guitar. Hey, this is Jeremy.
Hey, what's going on, Jeremy? It's Justin.
Justin, how are you, man?
Good. There must be a delay on the YouTube there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's probably 15 seconds or so, but it's also, yeah.
It's Justin from Connecticut. I called you before you were
right. Justin Weeks. Okay, I was gonna say if that's the case, this is the third Justin in a row I've talked to, but this is the second Justin. But you call first. Cool. Hey, ask your question again.
Since you got me live, I want to say keep up the good work. We love watching you.
Thanks,
we learn so much from you, and you're a gem in this niche as far as guitar buying, hunting, and learning.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's very kind.
My question is that while searching for all these used guitars and acoustics, how does one find a good guitar that they think it is, but their neck angle's wrong?
Yep.
And how would they find a competent luthier in their area that won't overcharge them for resetting a neck to make it playable?
That's a great question.
And I'll just leave it at that, and I'll let you answer it online. And once again, keep up the great work.
Oh, thanks, Justin. Perfect. Thanks, man. All right, so the question is, if you're buying guitars and you need a neck reset, how do you find a luthier that you trust or a repair person that you trust? I would say, I would probably try to find the repair person first before I'm in a pickle where I have a guitar that I need fixed. So in 2 different times I've had to have this problem fixed. Number one was when I was in Louisiana, and I just asked around. So the first one is I view the world through relationships. Like when I talk about fill the world with music and friendship is the tool with which I kind of navigate life. If I have problems in life, I try to fix it by asking my friends and people I know. So I started asking around when I was in the New Orleans area. Like if I played someone that had an old Martin and it played great, I'd be like, hey, who's your repair person? Has this been set up or reset? And I would find people that had their necks reset. And I was always impressed. The guy who they ended up referring me to always did amazing saddles. He would make new hand-shaped saddles. And so that was Tim with Tim's Guitars in Baton Rouge. He's amazing. If you're in the New Orleans, if you're in the South Louisiana area, Tim is just amazing. And he's funny and he's great. And also, if you start bringing somebody enough business, they'll give you good prices. By the end, he was only charging me maybe $300 for a neck reset, and then that would include a bone saddle with it. So number one, I would just ask around to see who it is. The other one is, can you show me your work? So if you'd find someone... so in Harrisonburg, I found this. There's a guy in Stanton. It's about 30 miles from me. there's a guy who used to work for Huss and Dalton, and he did all of their setup work, and so he left and went out on his own, and he started Fret Boss. That's Danny. He's been in a bunch of videos. I haven't seen him in probably a year or so, but look for somebody's work. All right, another call coming in. Hey, this is Jeremy. Who's this?
Hey, this is Dan. How you doing?
Dan, how are you, man?
I'm good, thanks. I got a question for you.
Sure.
I'm having my 56 Gibson Les Paul Jr. refretted.
Ooh, cool.
And the luthier proposed to me that I try out stainless steel frets, which I think is a good idea. I mean, I kind of like the idea of having frets that never wear out. But
yeah.
you think that's a bad thing to do on a classic guitar like that?
Ooh, well, how original is the rest of the guitar?
It's been refretted. It's relatively original. There's a couple little things here and there that have been done, like the nuts been changed out.
Okay.
The electronics are all original.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's relatively original.
Okay. Does it have any cracks, that, like neck crack or any finish work?
Oh, well, it's definitely got a lot of finish checking.
Yeah.
So it's it's old guitar, but it seems as though the neck was reset once at some point. It's actually a great neck angle, but
cool. But no neck crack.
Once, according to the guy who sold it to me.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So no neck crack down by the headstock.
No.
Okay.
No, it's no headstock break ever.
Yeah. Okay. So stainless steel frets, they do sound different. They're going to make the guitar a little brighter in how it sounds. I love the upside of like never having to do frets again. Don't worry about it. I don't know. My knee-jerk reaction is like, if it was me, I wouldn't do it. I would stick with a pretty standard fret because you get so much life out of normal frets. For most people, unless you're like an Eddie Van Halen or an Andy McKee or like a shreddy, heavy-handed player, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because I think if you'd ever move it, I think it could be a hang up for somebody if you're selling it later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know the luthier hasn't started yet, so there's still time to make that decision. Thanks for your input.
Yeah, sure thing. All right, thank you. Cool, that was a cool question. There are more. Lots of calls. Someone left a voicemail. Do we listen to a voicemail? Let's see how it goes. This might be somebody we just talked to. Oh, yeah. All right, here comes somebody. Equalized bookkeeping. Hey, this is Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy. My name's Glenn. How are you?
Hey, Glenn. Good. How are you?
Really good. Hey, appreciate everything you're doing.
Thanks.
I've just got a specific question about a guitar I already own. I've had it for about 6 years.
Sure.
It's a 57 Harmony H1215. So I know
cool.
It's not a huge high value.
But cool.
But I dig it. Like, the cool factor is too good for me to ever let it go. Or I think. Anyway. My biggest thing is that it's pretty playable right now.
Yep.
But like the tuning machines are really stiff.
Yeah.
The neck is like, it's bowed just enough that it buzzes on that like 13th, 14th fret.
Okay.
I usually don't play that high anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, my question is, would you recommend keeping a guitar of this value as original as possible, or would making it playable and getting the most life out of it be more worth it?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so and ballpark, what would you say that guitar is worth?
Well, I paid $400 for it 6 years ago, which I know is the high end.
Yeah.
It was worth it to me because it was playable.
Absolutely.
I would imagine it's probably, if I put it on eBay, it'd probably sell for less than that, maybe $350 or something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, perfect. Well, if you're watching live, I'll hang up here and I'll answer your question so you can watch it as well, or if you wanted me to stay on. Do you have a preference?
No, I'll watch it live.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, so that guitar, it's an old Harmony. It, buzzes a little bit here and there. The tuners are stiff. There's a little bit of buzz. Is it worth, how original should you keep it versus how playable should you make it? That's a great question. I think that make guitars playable, but I think there's also ways that you could work with this guitar and keep it pretty original, or at least get it to where you could like swap it back. I think number one, you could do better tuners that would feel great and be easy and fit the same holes. Chances are you'd be able to either find from Stu Mac their golden era repro tuners that are going to be a much better ratio. They're going to be much better gears. They're going to work really well. They're going to be lubricated. So you'll get those. I mean, I don't think they're too much money. I don't know if I want to venture a guess. $75, $50 to $100, I think is a pretty fair but wide range that they could be. So you could find repro tuners that would be more comfortable and sound great. It depends on how much you want to do. You could probably get someone to do a fret level and fret dress and just do a setup on the guitar for $75 to $100 and make it play really well. I think to me, you could do a couple things before you'd even get that crazy. If you went hog wild, totally crazy, I'm going to keep this guitar forever, you could do a new saddle, a new nut, and then have someone refret it and then do a full on like crown level refret, get it to where it's just playing like a monster. That would be awesome. I think you could do that you've got a couple levels there. Number one, swap tuners. And then if you ever decide to sell it, it may be worth more with the tuners, or you could swap the original tuners back with it. I have my 85 Pink Paisley Tele. One of the tuners was broken, and then 5 of them had some big humps in them. So I swapped them out for Repro Goto tuners that fit in the same hole. They look the same, but they're relict. And I just keep the originals in the case, and so if anyone ever wants to buy it, they can swap. I actually have all the pickups and harness and all the electronics with that one are in there. So, yeah, that's a great question. All right, let me jump back in over here to the comments. It says, yeah, this hat's for... Oh, wait, I got to turn this thing off. Sheesh. My ticker's been going. Turn that thing off. And, yeah, very Nathaniel Ratliff. Thank you. I love Nathaniel Ratliff. He was in I put him on an Instagram story. Do you name your guitars? I was lucky to pick up a Larrivee OM40 Moon Spruce with walnut back and sides. Love it so far. I don't name guitars. Now that I think about it, have I ever named a guitar? I had a guitar I used to call Black Betty. And because we play that bow, 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 because we loved the movie Blow when I was in high school. But yeah, I don't normally name guitar. Well, I named one, the Razzmatazz-Caster, but that's just because it's kind of a nondescript guitar, or it's definitely is descript. But anyway, yeah, that's OM40 with walnut and moon spruce. That's a cool guitar. Sonia's here. Hey, how are you? Glad you're here. McDowell County Young Life. Hey, buddy. Great idea with live calls. Yeah, we did it once. Risky, but nice. So far, it's been good. I got a ton of phone calls right away. And, yeah. So, greetings from New Jersey. Hey, Diane. Glad you're here. Hello, good day from Australia. 6 a.m. That's awesome. My brother lives in Australia. He's an Oz man these days. And, yeah, I guess it would be like 6:30. It's like 14 hours ahead. Here comes somebody. All right. Here we go. Hey, it's Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy. It's Paul.
Paul, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, what do you have a question?
I do. I got myself in a little bit of a pickle.
Oh.
Doing wheeling and dealing through the fall and winter. I have a Martin OMCTA-1.
OMCTA. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's like a Flair series. It's the same guy that Maroon 5's guitar player does them. So they retail around, they used like $3,500, $4,000.
Okay.
So I found one, and it was worked on already. It had about a 12-inch crack in the lower bow.
Okay.
Then it was fixed by the original owner, cleated twice, and then refinished.
Got it. Okay.
when I got it for $1,200.
Okay.
And it's in really good shape. So I'm in it. It's got a good pickup, the Fishman Aura system.
Oh, perfect. Oh, wait. Okay, so hang on. How much did you say you're in it?
$1,200.
Okay.
But it has refinish work, and just the refinish work's not great. And I think so. I'm already in it. I'm done. I can't give it back.
Okay.
But he used super glue, some sort of super glue method for refinishing.
Oh.
And I just didn't know if you had any advice, if you've ever heard of people.
I've heard of people doing that.
Using super glue?
Well, so and they'll be like, it's a specific kind of super glue. It's like CA glue, the crystalline acetate. So when because you can cure it with UV. So I have a video a couple months ago where I didn't get to cover it. So I have a video about my Hassan Dalton. It had a little like Mark Dalton called a whiplash, and he said at some point that guitar probably fell forward, and so when it did, it just cracks the finish a little bit. It didn't crack into the wood, but what he did was he used a razor blade and he cut into it, and then underneath that he would shoot super glue inside that hole or inside the crack, and then with a razor blade he was able to draw it out to where it filled in all the way. And then he went, and he didn't tell me what he did. Later on, I realized that he went into the other room, into the finishing room, shined it under a UV light, or he may have used, you can also use like spray super glue accelerant. And it came together like you cannot see it unless you know it's there. But it's not, I mean, I'm not a guitar
This one has
builder.
lines, you could see it
Yeah.
a little bit, and I was hoping I could buff them out, but
They're probably
I don't know if you
underneath
had any
the finish.
experience with that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a guitar builder. I'm just, an enthusiast buyer seller. But
If you've heard of it before, like,
I've
I
heard.
emailed him and he said super glue. I almost dropped my coffee.
I
I was like,
know.
you used what?
Yeah. Wait a second. But I mean, the truth is, like, you're in a guitar for a third of the original value, or the original retail price. So the other part is typically, in my experience, when you have finish work, particularly if someone says the guitar's been refinished, usually whatever the value is, it's 50% because of that. But it's kind of like it's like owning a guitar, if the comparison would be like a car with a salvage title, or like, hey, it's rebuilt, it can, it's great and it can play and it has this great pickup system and it sounds really good and it looks cool. But, it also, it's like when you would move it later on, you're like, okay, well, it's, it's a branded title. Some people are cringe about that. Some people are, as soon as they hear refinish, top crack, super glue, like you, they're going to drop their coffee.
Right. Well, it's good to hear at least that they've done it.
Yeah.
Done on things like a hospital and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was my question, was just figure out if that was at all legit, because super glue for me is
Yeah.
risky, but that's nice to hear.
Because I think, you'll hear people they'll say CA glue, and they'll be, it's a little more highbrow sounding than super glue. But, if they say flex tape,
Takes you out.
different story. Yeah. So cool, man. Well, yeah, send me a picture of that guitar at some point. That's a cool one. I looked it up while we were talking.
They play. The cool thing is that the neck is a little bit narrower up by the nut.
Oh, wow.
Or a little wider up by the nut, like 1 3/4, so you can chord cowboy chords super easy. And then as it goes up, the neck narrows. So if you want to play leads, it's probably the easiest.
I remember.
It's smooth. It does everything.
That's cool. I remember hearing about those, and that's a totally opposite option from like most other guitars, or the performing artist taper is 1 3/4, and then it's 2 1/8 or something, and like it gets wider as it goes. So that's amazing. Cool, man. Well, I got more people calling, but that's great.
Yeah. All right, man. Do your thing. Good to talk to you.
All right. Good to talk to you too. That's a cool one. Are y'all able to hear pretty well if I hold the mic up the way I'm doing it? I avoid being slick on things. So anyway, Mark Dugan says, we've been trying to reach you about your warranty. I get those all the time. And I drive like a 1997 Subaru. So, oh, but wait, maybe it's just not based in reality. So, Connor, hey, buddy. How are you? How's the hunt? Daniel with a super chat. Thank you, man. That's very kind. That's a good way to support. And it also helps me see them. I immediately jump to these. Okay, so I already sold my Favilla. I'm sorry. Where did it go? I think it went back to I bought it from Southern California, had it for a couple months, had it fixed. Had it sold to a guy here in town, and then that didn't work out, and then it immediately came back and went to somebody else. I don't remember where that one went. You can find them. They are still not... They're a very well-kept secret. And you can find a Favilla. I put an offer on one on Reverb last week. It was an H6. It was a Dreadnought. It was ugly and had serious damage. And they were asking $400, and I think it was still probably too much, but very cool guitar. Hey, Daniel Riccabona recently pulled the trigger on a Tonk Bros era Washburn. That's amazing. Dude, that is so cool. Yes, you're the right person and the right kind of customer for that kind of guitar. It's similar. Did you see that video with Ben Padgett is rebuilding a... it's a little after yours, but he's rebuilding like probably a 1916, I think. Emery. And yeah. Turn of the century Washburns are amazing. They're so fun. They play great. They sound really good. All right. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, Daniel, you can hear well when people call. Thank you. What are the best strings for a J45? In my opinion, oh man, I have a very specific answer, and they're an unusual pick. Ernie Ball years ago sent me a bunch of strings, and I hadn't used them, and I had a J45, and just because I didn't have any other strings, and we were in a moment of particular brokenness, I put the aluminum bronze from Ernie Ball, and they were the best sounding strings on a J45 I'd ever heard. They were bright and punchy and bassy, and they rung for a long time. They had lots of... They had lots of sustain. So for me, aluminum bronze. Now, other than that, the Diodario nickel bronze, like these are kind of my go-to for a lot of those. Will it focus? Yeah, so the Diodario nickel bronze. I like these a whole lot. And anyway, I got one to my work line today. So frustrating. Yeah, your warranty. Yeah. A lot of channel partners. That's so fun. Not channel partners, channel members. So if you have these little icons like that icon, can I point to it right there? It means that Daniel, for a couple bucks a month, he gets early access to videos, gets Q&As with me, and also is just, it's those little ways in which, so to be a YouTuber, to make this work as a job, which I'm still making less than I ever made as a marketing director, all the other things I've done in my life. But it's just one of the ways. So to be a YouTuber, you kind of have to have like 6 or 7 ways that you're getting paid. And it's really awesome. So Tom is, Jansen selling his Collings SJ today. Have I played any Maple Collings? I have not. No, I played a CW, what's the CJ? C10? I don't remember. It was years ago in Austin. I played one at Austin Vintage Guitars. They had one, and yeah, maple guitars aren't usually my thing. I think I've got a deal working. I think I'm going to trade 2 of my guitars for a Wright Luthier, WRIGHT Luthier J45 with maple back and sides. That's one of the guitars that I've been like, oh, if I sell a bunch of stuff, I can get this. So anyway, trying to work a deal. Tom says, super glue works. Check out Stu Mac finish repair video for a good explanation. That's true. The other one, Stu Mac is great. Another one is to check out the Chris and those guys with Driftwood guitars. Also, can people stop sending me the video of people cutting orange woods and all those guitars in half? Everyone sends me those videos like, have you seen this? Yes, I've seen them. I've seen them all. I love Chris. He's so funny. We've been meaning to make a video together, and it's just, all 3 of us have been exceptionally busy. But anyway, wow, Pat has a Favilla F5 for 51 years. Your pride and joy. That's amazing. What guitar will you hang on to for 51 years. For me, I hopefully one of these days we'll stop having these bottoming out moments in our life where everything is expensive and life is really hard and we have to sell everything. I'm trying to fight one of those off right now. And this is being more honest than I thought, because the course just hasn't taken off in the way that I had hoped or expected. And so because of that, we put a bunch of money and effort and time, and I didn't do a bunch of other stuff because I was like, oh, this course will work. So anyway, yeah. So here's a great question. What is, hold on. Where'd it go? Here it is. What's the best Martin copy you've ever played? Well, it depends on how you define Martin copy, because it's kind of like Ford introduced like the first SUV in the Bronco, but there are a lot of companies making that kind of like an International Scout or a Chevy Blazer, like a K5 Blazer, like. So you're getting to where like the certain recipes or ideas of a guitar. So like the D18 idea of a guitar, the best D18 kind of guitar I've ever played, maybe not ever played, but one of the absolute best is my Husson Dalton TDM. Now it's a D18 loosely. It's got a couple things going for it that are very D18-ish, but it's still like, you can tell that like it's a bolt-on neck. It's not a dovetail joint neck. But to answer your question, what is the best Martin copy I've ever played? It's a Thompson. Yeah, like a Thompson. I played a Thompson D42 a couple years ago at Carter Vintage, and it blew my mind. And I feel like most of us have missed the boat on Thompsons because of like Billy Strings and those guys. They're just so good, so expensive. T-Bone, an FG300, bought in 1973 and still love it. That's amazing. That's so cool. Pat also has a Montana J50 from 1990. That's a great guitar. James, I have a new reimagined Martin D28. Any strings you suggest I try? So Stringjoy literally yesterday just announced their coated acoustic strings, which I have been sneaking... And I've had them for a couple months. Actually, well, these are a custom set, but the ones that I have look like this. Those are baritone strings, but I think they're called the Foxwoods, are the brand new strings from them. I like those a lot. And they're good coated strings. They last a long time. The other ones that I always am surprised by on Martins are these. I already mentioned these. Focus, do it. It's not going to focus. What's happening? Come on. How long are we waiting? And there's rubber band on it. So anyway, the nickel bronze from Diodario. I like these a lot. They're very gracious. And like I said, they last a long time. They're not coated. Those are also like, it's a kind of string that is based on like an old, like those strings. There's a great video. I forget the guy's name. It's Josh Turner. I think he does, Josh Turner did a really deep dive on how to make a guitar sound like Nick Drake. And so he does those, and he plays a D35 with those strings like 6 months down the road. They're thumpy and they're beautiful, and they sounds like a classical, has some chime on the high strings. But anyway, Daniel, what do I think of Taylor's new AD27 flame top, maple top, back and sides neck? Dude, Taylor just nails maple. It's so good. And yeah, so I'm a big fan of that. And I like them. I haven't seen one in person. Someone offered me some money for my Taylor AD17 in a deal that I'm trying to work. So that might be a thing that's happening. But Steve, cool hat. Thank you. I like this hat. I don't remember. I think it's like, it's Eddie Bauer. Like, it's not anything like super cool or fancy, but also I think you're supposed to wear it very Dick Tracy, but I always flip the top up in the front and it just looks very cool. I kind of set it back. I also have a gigantic head. So like I literally when I did that goofy beard for like Halloween time, we did a party for our house. Sounds like that's a weird thing, but we just like dressed up like the 1920s. And And so when I shaved the middle of my beard and had the safari guy beard chops thing, I had to order a bowler hat. And the bowler hat, I had to order a 2X, and it was still pretty tight. And so I ended up returning it and getting a 3X, which they didn't even, they're like, we only made 2 of these for the thousands of hats that they're selling. Holy cow. Mike, get a pack of string joys on me. That's very kind. Thank you, Mike. That is so good. Really generous. Thank you. Did I ever sell my Martin? How did it go? You talking about the D41? I did. I haven't missed it. I don't own a Martin right now. I think I'm going to make a video about why I don't own any Martins right now. I think I would like to try one of the Martin Modern Deluxes. Those seem like, I feel like the new couple, the 7 that they just announced, Daniel and I were talking about this the other day. But man, I think the new Martins that they're putting out, there's like there's kind of a cool smaller bodies versions of all of them. I think that they are going for the people that have left Martin or have long since left Martin for Collings, for Thompson, for boutique builders, for bourgeois, maybe not bourgeois. But I think that for the first time, they're dealing with the fact that they've lost a lot of people in the boutique. Like lots of people get 18s and 28s and 35s. And then some people get 41s, but for the most part, if you want a small body, Martin hasn't been. Like if you want a cool OM, and if you want anything that's not like a vintage reissue or a standard, you just have had better choices with smaller builders. So it's cool to see them kind of doing that. Do I still have my Martin M20E? I do not. I do have an amazing copy. This little thing is a full-on sculpted. So it's a full-blown like sculpture of my original M20. Now inside this, it's crazy. Like there is like my wire cutters, my string winder, and then inside this guitar, like it literally is a little sculpted guitar. My capo, which I literally is on. Oh, it's on my Paget inside. And so this is made by Edward Sparks. He's an amazing sculptor and builder, and he sent me this thing. So I don't still own my M20 for a couple of reasons. I love that guitar, but when I got that guitar, I bought that guitar and like we're still in scramble mode. I'm still in like make YouTube work so that I don't have to do another job. And so with that, like I don't get to treat myself to a bunch of guitars. So I have a bunch of guitars now, and we have to be able to, like, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And I really love that guitar. I hope to own another one of those at some point. But we're in full scramble mode to get things going. So yeah, Evan had one, and Evan, you offered that one to me. I think we talked about that one, and I just can't pull the trigger right now. So I think for me, I mean, those videos did great. It was really fun to own those guitars. I love what Guild is doing in America. I wish I could own a D55. The D55, they offered me one at artist pricing, but I wasn't that far ahead, because especially when I'm like, I don't know. Like I know a lot of you guys are in similar positions. Like I'm very much like a solo entrepreneur. I have, I have an assistant that helps me. I have an editor that helps me sometimes. And so, it's just full blown crazy. Like we're in like, this must work and we have to be really scrappy. And so anyway, love that guitar, love Guild, love what they're doing. Wish I could have kept it, but had to move on. And that's where a lot of these things are kind of coming and going. But thankfully, I've got a ton of guitars. Oh, flip and show you. I didn't change the ISO. So anyway, you won't see it because it's too dark over there. And now my shot's wonky. What have I done? But anyway, so yeah, I don't have my Guild M20 anymore. Patrick says, you hinted about a new purchase when you announced a drop in price in your store. Got a sneak peek? I don't. So the one I was aiming for kind of fell through. It didn't. It definitely fell through. The one that I was really aiming for and hoping for. But it's still like, I just have too many guitars. And okay, so here's the other part. I have a small house. I have a small studio. And so I ran out of space to store stuff in here, and then I ran out of space to store in the basement. And when I looked around, I was like, I have 40 guitars. I got to clear out some stuff. And so I just need to get rid of a bunch of stuff because where we live, like, and you've seen that studio in 100 videos, but the basement over there, like, it takes water. I know it's taking water in April. And so by April, I need to have a better storage place for it. I need to have less guitars. I don't want to get a storage unit. So part of it is I just need to sell a bunch of guitars, and I've also taken on a bunch recently. Anyway, yeah. What do you think of an all-mahogany Martin small body? The Martin 0015M is a wonderful guitar. The 0015 is good. Double O's, that's where there's kind of a big line. They start sounding like a small guitar when you get to a guitar that size. What would a Guild M120 be worth now? They've shot up in value. They're worth more than they were a couple years ago. What did I bought one a couple years ago, and I gave it to my friend Jessie and her daughter. How much did I pay for that? I don't know. I haven't kept up with those. They're great. They're really great guitars. They're kind of a thick finish. That's my main concern with them, is that they just have that like big glossy shiny finish, but it's, thick polyurethane. Tech says the Martin 0028E Modern Deluxe has a short scale, fantastic shape neck, low profile too. Because you said they offer a neck profile on the Modern Deluxes that they don't do on anything else. And so that's why I think it's a guitar that you would need to play. Yeah, I definitely would love to kind of figure out which Martin I want to aim for. I'm relaunching the Dream Guitar Challenge next week as well. So moving forward, we're going to have kind of not a different format, but some more consistency that maybe you'll pick up on, maybe you won't. On Mondays, we're going to do either an update on the guitar, on the Dream Guitar Challenge. So that'll be all the vloggy, get back out, buying and selling stuff. And then on Thursdays, there's either going to be gear reviews or guitar stories. I'm going to start doing more of those, like where I did my worst day selling guitars. I'm going to start redoing those. So anyway, is there an easy way to tell if a guitar has a solid guitar, if an acoustic guitar has solid back and sides? Very hard. I have found that it is better to know the models and the procedures and how the brands built those guitars. Oh, here somebody's calling. Yeah, it's very hard. Otherwise, you have to like memorize the grain and then flip it around, look inside, look outside. But it's very, very hard. Hey, it's Jeremy.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. Who's this?
This is Zach from California.
Hey, Zach. What's your question?
Hey, so I have quite a collection of gear here for just only being 18 years old. I've got like 8 guitars. I have like 2 electrics, mainly acoustics. I have a Guild Starfire I purchased recently last year.
Cool.
A Squire Stratocaster that Sarah Jerry modified.
Yeah.
All this like really unique artwork on it. A Gretsch Jim Dandy that I modified with like a little sound hole.
Cool.
Single coil pickup. You can sound like a Strat. The Angelico from your Fulton, that's like a 12-string acoustic electric.
Yeah.
A Gretsch little short scale bass. And just a bunch of other little neat things lying around. I have like a 1950s Electron Muse lap steel guitar that I think sounds great. But with all this gear, I've been trying to like post my own covers and post my own songs on YouTube or on Reddit or just basically wherever I can,
Yeah.
I have a hard time trying to find the right equipment for right now. I have this Black Star amp. It's an acoustic amp that has like a line out input that has like a TRRS cable you plug in your phone or whatever you're streaming into, and it makes it sound like just the amp quality. So I have a kind of like a hard time trying to figure out like when's the perfect time to record for me or how to get the perfect take.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you had any advice on how to start recording and how to start uploading like covers and like videos to YouTube more frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a while since I've done proper recording. Like now I have a studio, but my studio is much more oriented at making videos and stuff. And so there are people that are probably better aimed at answering that question. But for me, like I've always been like, I grew up in the punk rock scene and in the indie scene. It is cool hearing your list of stuff. Like you have a really specific, like thinking about which guitars you have. Like I have a pretty good suspicion of like where you're coming from and what your tone is going to be, like cool jangly stuff.
As far as like a tone goes, like I'm more influenced by like White Stripes, Black Keys. More modern bands would be like, you know, Cleopatra. As far as folk goes, like the acoustic stuff, the Lumineers, Monsters and Men.
Yeah. Nice, you know? What about, like, because I'm thinking like Shaky Graves when I think of that, like.
Yeah, Shaky Graves too. Love Shaky Graves.
Got it. Yeah, I get like the Jim Dandy with the single pickup. So you, dude, I feel like you would have a ton of fun. Like you don't have to spend you don't have to spend any money to record stuff now, because if you have an Apple, you have GarageBand. If you have interfaces are pretty affordable to start getting in. But I would say you could go two different directions. You could go like analog fun stuff, like find an old 4-track at like a pawn shop, or like old guitar shops will have little like 4-track recorders that run on cassette. That's a fun lo-fi way to do it. But it doesn't play as easily into like, all right, and now I want to put that on YouTube, or I want to, you know. So I think the other way is get like a Focusrite, like a Scarlett, or just a cheap interface. Get an SM57 to sit in front of your amp. And then you can get, I mean, there's so many great microphones that are so affordable now. If you can get, like if for vocals, if you could do a large diaphragm condenser, which you can get them for $100 now, I think you're like $200 away from being able to do something.
Yeah. For me right now, like I have a SM58 that I use when I go busking out on like the ocean.
Yeah, those are perfect.
And then I have like a cheap little Behringer audio interface. It's like a copy of the Scarlett.
That's what I used for years, even doing YouTube stuff. I mean, until about a year ago when I bought a Universal Audio Apollo, which that's from like going from like.
A little pedal board that I can,
yeah,
I even have like a little pedal board that I can like mess around with. As like a whammy like GT that I got on steel for like offer up for like $200.
There you go, dude.
Like
that's awesome.
A fuzz pedal, a compressor, a tuner, tremolo, reverb. I have this little Boss DE2. It's like a vocal effects processor that goes with my guitar and my vocals, so I can get like harmonies and reverb and delay, whatever I want to do. So I have the options to do it. I just recently have a hard time trying to find the inspiration and the time just to do it, just because I'm going through college and trying to get a job here soon that isn't busking.
Seriously.
And I'm just trying to, you know, it's hard kind of being like a musician to try to like get good takes of like songs that you really love on YouTube while going through all of this different stuff.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're doing it in one take. So that's what the advantage of starting to move into like any kind of recording software. You can get your guitar track locked in. You're like, all right, I like how the guitars sound, and I can set a drum track behind that, and I like that stuff, and it's repeatable. You can do some copy paste, and then getting to where you can do vocals. That's where like I'm with you, and it's, dude, like you're kind of playing life on expert if you're like, all right, I'm gonna play guitar, and you know. That's what I always think about. It's like when you see those like old, so I live in like a super Mennonite part of the world, and you'll see these like old women doing like quilting or crocheting or whatever. And I was with my kids a couple weeks ago, and there's this loom, and there's like, they're pulling 12 strings, and it's like all this, like to make one thread, or like to put it all together. And so that's where I feel the same thing with like guitar's one string and my voice and my vocals. And I'm like, I'm trying to be funny and cool and good diction. So yeah, I think if you can get to where you're limiting some of those variables, and then also like if you feel burned out, just slow down. That's what I always like. Good things are slow, and so that's where like I find like with YouTube now, like I find myself like sometimes I'm just busy to be busy instead of like, what if I just waited, instead of like feeling like, oh, if I don't put out 2 videos a week, or if I don't make new music for people are gonna forget who I am. I think like, what if I hold back and I only do the videos that just blow people's minds? Or for you, it's like if I wait, you know. Anyway, that dude, I'm excited for you. Send me your music, and I'll share it along too. Cool, man. Sure.
The route for like, you know, using an audio interface and using like doing my separate tracks. How would I go by posting like YouTube videos where I want to make it look like I'm performing it live? I feel like that'd be kind of like easy like for my viewers. Like if I had all the stuff pre-recorded and I try to play over that, it just seems
because then it's kind of a music video. It's kind of a music video. Then you're like, well, I'm pretending. Like that's what I've wondered. Because there's a guitar player I've been following a lot. His name is like Magnus something. Yeah, I think he's from Sweden or Norway. But basically, like he has amazing tone, and I know I'm like the only way to get a guitar to sound like that is to have a microphone right on it. And in his shots, they're beautiful, and they're not. I don't see a microphone. And so that's where I'm like, this is a music video. This isn't him actually playing this time. So I think it's like you have two choices. Either you practice and you become like repeatably wonderful. And so that's where it's like you just set the camera up and you're going to run and you're going to take 12 takes. And at the end, you're going to pick one of them. And it's just like, this is it from beginning to finish. But that's, like I said, that's playing life. That's playing life on expert. And
True.
so yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, the other way is like people love the process, and so if you're sharing stuff, if you mess up, leave mistakes in. That's what I think. That's why people love like that new Adele song, "Easy on Me," because it sounds like a real person. Like you can hear her breathe, and you can hear her like, So that's where I'm like, lean into the imperfection because that's where humanity is. And I think people would be into that. Cool, man.
Yeah, I agree with that statement too, as far as like how if you have something that sounds so robotic where everything's set to a click track, where everything is like perfectly in sync, like the blocks are all placed like in the right place where they're supposed to be, it doesn't really sound like a human song. It just sounds like another like sort of like industry pump out. Yeah. Just to get more hits on Billboard, So I agree with that statement.
Yeah, man. I think
one more thing is like, my addiction. When I was like 5 years old, I was diagnosed with autism. So I've been in like speech therapy, social skills therapy for like the past 8 years or whatever throughout like my whole public school journey. And I still kind of have some troubles with trying to pronunciate my words and sound clear when I am singing and playing guitar at the same time, but not as much as when I am just singing by myself. So I'm trying to get over that hoop at the same time. Do you have any like tips or recommendation on how you would like get through that?
Yeah. So for people that didn't hear, I just want to reiterate. So when you were in elementary school, you were diagnosed with autism, and during your time through public schools or through the school system, you've worked on diction, you've worked on projection. Have you ever taken proper singing lessons?
I have for like 3 months or so. This lady on Reddit, she saw one of my covers and she hit me up. She's like, "Hey, you sound really good.
Cool.
But I think you could be better. So I want to give you free vocal lessons."
Whoa.
Okay, sure, I'm down.
That's amazing. So do you, so I wonder, is this insecurity speaking, saying like, oh, I know this is a thing for me. Have other people told you that your diction is lacking in your music?
Not so much as I think they would, but I mean, just from hearing myself back, I think that's like kind of like that self-conscious thing of like, oh, I don't sound perfect. I don't sound like a pop track. Which I'm not trying to sound like that, but I'm just trying to sound as good or as close to good as you could.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a good, healthy thing. I think it is really hard to hear yourself back on video and audio, and like it's hard to not like you don't see yourself in reality. Like for me, like in my head, I'm a fat guy, like, and so like my whole life I've just been like, oh, I'm like a super fat guy. Like in my head, I'm like 300 pounds, and in reality, I'm like 210 pounds, So I think it's so Rob Chapman, when he was he did a video with me a couple months ago. We were talking about buying guitars all around the world and living in Malta for him, and he had just this like passing comment that was amazing, which he said, "Don't be your own producer," and it's so good. It's just like, oh, of course, because if you're producing yourself, you don't see yourself rightly, and so you're just going to give yourself bad advice, and like you're going to hang up on things that aren't actually a problem. So anyway, that's a cool one. All right, man, I got more people calling, but this was awesome. Thank you for the call.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, buddy. All right. That was a really good one. New comments. Oh, so many comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up. This is great. Tyler says best choice condenser to record an acoustic guitar. Okay. I love condensers for acoustic guitars, but condensers don't tell you the truth. So Do you want your guitar to sound like, oh boy, just dropped my phone. I have this battle every single day here in the studio. So for me, do I want to get condensers sound better than reality? There's more bass, there's more shimmer, they sound better, they sound more present than the guitar in the room with itself. The biggest one is bass. There's so much more bass with a condenser than guitars actually hear, or your ears hear that guitar in a space. So for me, if you're going for a condenser, if you're looking for affordable stuff, the warm audio stuff is really good. I used a 47 Junior for years. There's amazing stuff from Audio-Technica in that middle price point, that $300 or $400 price point. And then you get into like, Neumann's so expensive. I don't know microphones that well, but for me, I think the large diaphragm in that middle price range, you're just going to get so much bang for your buck. If I only could pick two microphones or one microphone, I would do Sennheisers. There's some really good Sennheisers in there too. I love the, it's down here. I'm sitting right up against this toolbox. But this is my favorite microphone. If I had to just pick one, I would go with the Royer R10. See if I can get it to focus. It's looking for my eyeballs. But the Royer R10 is a really great, if I put it right here by my face, it's in the same plane of view. But the Royer R10 is a ribbon mic, which is much more honest and accurate in the representation of your guitar. So perfect world for me, I'd get two of those, but they're pricey. They're like $500 a piece. They're not the Royer 121, which, those are like just accurate. Put your ears in another room. That's how it would sound. But yeah, identifying solid versus laminate. The easiest way is on the top of an acoustic guitar. Look for lines going through the wood grain on the top, at the back of the sound hole or at the front of the sound hole when you hold up the guitar. That's the easiest place to see if it is solid. Some guitar brands will put, like my Waterloo has this. I know it's solid, but they put binding inside that hole, and so it gets tricky. Some even fake it. They'll like draw lines through it, but you'll see multiple layers of plywood. If you see grain going the other way, you're looking for wood grain through the top. On the back and sides, man, somebody asked this earlier. It's really hard. A couple big red flags, Taylor and Guild, most notably. If there are no braces on the back of an acoustic guitar, it's laminate, unless it is a carved back. But with those, they're going to be so expensive, like an L7 or like an old, like even an L50, L45 from Gibson. Those would be carved back, so they don't have braces. But anyway. It's not foolproof, but if the grain has a unique grain or markings on the front, you can find them on the back. Yeah, the problem is like mahogany or maple are really, really hard because there just isn't as much specific grain. And you also have to think there's movement through the depth of wood, so like it's kind of like so in college, I did this test where it's like testing your large number memory and some spatial recognition thing. And it was like, memorize where all these dots are on this paper. Flip the page to a blank page and then flip to the next page. Draw where the dots were. And it's kind of the same thing when you're like looking inside a guitar and then you flip it to the outside. In that flip, you're just going to white. And so all of a sudden you come back and you're like, I don't know, my brain's been wiped. I don't know. But that's a great question. Here's a good one. Foolproof way. Saw the guitar in half. Look at it that way. The other one, I think the most helpful one is to like just really have good resources. The Gruen Vintage Guitar Guide, the Vintage Guitar Price Guide, have, other guitar research books that are going to give you like, in 1971, they did these guitars. They were imported from Japan and they were all laminate back and sides. So anyway. Oh yeah. Sonia, no auto-tune. I'm gonna scoot down. What was this? We're talking about Tony. I texted Tony yesterday. He didn't text me back yet. But yeah. This is a good one. I'm picking up on a conversation that started earlier. But the free money has dried up. So the buyer. Oh, here comes somebody calling. What if it's just like my doctor or no? Okay, here we go. Another question. Hey, this is Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, who's this?
My name is Stanton. I live in Pensacola, Florida.
All right. Hey, Pensacola.
And and my roommate Ed told me to tell you, hey.
Ed. Wait, is it the Ed from Pensacola that I know?
It would be the Ed from Pensacola that you know.
How fun!
He is not with me at the moment, but he told me that you used to call it.
Dude, that is so fun. I think he mentioned you. That's so fun. Cool.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I love Ed. Of course, fully met your channel and I've been following for a while, but I'm thinking about upgrading the pickup. I've got a MIM Telecaster
Yep.
that I've had since I was like 15. So, over 20 years now. And I love to use it to play around when I'm playing out.
Yeah.
But it can get really shrill, like super shrill.
Yep.
If I'm using the bridge pickup and have much tone at all, like over more than one notch.
Yep.
So thinking about upgrading this pickup and just wondering if you had any suggestions on the route to use, or the route to go there.
Sure. What kind of music do you like playing, and what kind of tone? What kind of musicians do you like?
Man, I'm a massive Isbell fan. I love basically anything kind of the alt country.
Yeah. Oh man,
blues.
we're in the same. We're in the same direction. That's like exactly what kind of stuff I'm into as well. My favorite, I have two tellies, and my favorite telly setup, and actually somebody sent me two parts casters that they built out last week, and one of them I played was like, this is my favorite Telecaster I've ever played. And all three of them have the same pickups. So it's the Seymour Duncan Antiquity Broadcasters. To me, there are no better pickups. And so basically Seymour Duncan, the pickup builder, bought the string winders from Fender and the pots and like all of the stuff, the wax pots, all the stuff they did to make those the original Fender pickups in the 1950s. So basically Seymour Duncan is now making pickups with the same bobbins, with the same magnets, everything as the original 50s pickups. So they're awesome. They're kind of pricey, but they are. I mean, if you're trying to just kick it up to a whole nother level, those are amazing. But yeah, there's plenty of really good options. That like the Seymour Duncan Antiquity Broadcasters would be my number one recommendation. Behind that, you would also probably really enjoy the Fender 52 reissue pickups. You can get those. They're probably $100, $125. It's been a minute since I looked those up, but you would really like those for sure. And while you're at it, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just like update the volume and tone pot. Get, some good CTS or maybe Mojo Tone pots in there.
Thanks, man.
Cool, man. Yeah, and you can keep my number and text if you have more questions from Ed as well.
I appreciate it. Have an awesome one. Enjoying the show.
Cool. Thanks, man. So fun. All right, bye. All right. Let me finish. I'll catch up on some questions. Night, guys. Got us news. Thanks for much. It's 6 a.m. and you're just now going to bed. All right. It's a bold way to live. Yeah, T-Bone says drill a hole. You can tell. It's true. There are a bunch of comments I couldn't keep up with. I'm sorry today. All right. Hey, here comes a Louisiana number. Here comes one. Whoa, Dan, $20. Thank you. I played a long time today with finger calluses hurt. So blah, 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 blah. Cool. I got to answer this call. Hey, this is Jeremy. Who's this?
This is Flat Top. I'm calling from Louisiana.
Flat Top from Louisiana.
True blood coon ass.
That's funny. You're a Red River man?
Well, my dad was a redneck. My mom was a coon ass. So all that did was give me the red ass.
There you go. Cool. What part of Louisiana are you in?
Central. If you put your finger on the central part of the state, don't crush me.
There you go. Now, did you... So I have a couple funny Louisiana stories. So there's a guy So my brother-in-law is from Alexandria, and he always says, like, I'm from Ellick. But I've never heard anyone from Alexandria call it Ellick. Have you heard that?
Yes, it's call it that all my life. It's 30 miles away.
You call it Ellick? Okay, cool. And then a couple months ago, I met a guy. He's like, I'm from Louisiana. I'm from a small village in North Louisiana called Bossier City. And I was like, I think you're from Bossier, man. And he's like, no.
Yeah, he's from Bossier. He's not from there. He's not saying it right.
I know. He said, I'm from Bossier. He lives in D.C. now. So anyway.
Yeah, he moved there from somebody. He was an implant.
Yeah, there you go. Cool, man. Well, Flat Top, what's your...
All right, got a question for you.
Shoot.
I inherited my dad's Yamaha guitar. I don't know what the number is or anything.
Okay.
It's a very good Yamaha acoustic guitar.
Sure.
Now, I'm 61 years old. I'm disabled, so I spend a lot of time inside.
Okay.
And I would love to fill that time learning.
Yeah.
But as I look online, I find it harder every time I look online to decide, how do I start learning? How do I pick up that guitar?
Yeah.
And make sense of the fretboard?
Yeah, that's true. So I think usually your best strategy is learning a couple chords, getting to where you learn chords, and then you start knowing which chords go with each other. And so learn how to play in G, learn how to play in C. I think it's also best, like for me, I do better learning from a person face to face. So if you're able, if you know anybody, are you in a church, or do you have a community of, do you know other guitar players?
I don't know. Both of my wife's brothers play guitar.
Okay.
But they kind of don't associate with the family.
Gotcha.
My wife is the lead singer in a band, but she has to travel an hour when she goes to practice.
Gotcha.
And I ain't going to practice with her,
Yeah.
Because there ain't no time to be bothering them and trying to learn something.
That's true.
So it's like, would you consider joining, like, I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know if it's allowed on radio, but Simply Fender or something, like one of them guitar courses.
Yeah.
Online that would be able to start you out from beginner.
Yeah.
And keep it organized.
Yeah.
So that it leads you off the next time you pick up the guitar. If it's 7 days later, you could pick up right where you left.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've done some stuff with Fender Play, and they have a really good tool. I mean, they've had 2 million people learn how to play guitar in the last 2 years. I think they're a really good tool. Another one, depending on if you're more specialized, I know that Tony's Acoustic Challenge, Tony Policastro, and he's a friend of mine. They have a really good program too. I think also if you could find somebody that would do lessons, if there's a guitar shop kind of close to you, taking lessons I think is the basic answer.
That's impossible. It's such a small town.
Got it.
And see, when you write it down, it's Alexandria. But if you're talking, it's Ellick. Well, Ellick is 30-something miles away, but traffic-wise, it takes an hour to get there.
Yeah, seriously.
So
I used to go up to Pineville
on
a bunch.
a disability check.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. On a disability check, you got no money left to pay anybody. That's why I was like, I need the best information, get the most out of my money.
Yeah.
I had the memory loss caused by an accident. I had all 4 master's degrees for Harley Davidson technology.
Wow.
And somebody spilled oil across 3 lanes of traffic. I come along test riding the bike that I just fixed, hit the oil that you couldn't see because the spill was so big, and that ended everything pretty much for me.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
So I've been wanting to learn how to play guitar all my life. My dad played, but he worked so much that he never had time to just sit down and teach us.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. I mean, yeah. Oh man, well, I'm sorry that happened.
Simply guitar or Fender Play.
I think both of those. I think they're affordable enough and they're organized enough that most of those thankfully you have plenty of good options. I think it's just sticking to one and kind of moving through it. I know for me, I took lessons for a long time, and I always got in trouble by playing by ear. So for me, I eventually just everything I learn now, I basically use major scale, and then I've learned what keys go with each thing, and then now as a player, I use the Nashville number system. So someone says, hey, we're playing, it's a 1-4-5, it's in the key of C, and then I know what they mean. And so you can get there. It's not a ton. And once you start, the biggest thing is that first 6 weeks, you're going to start seeing some real wins where you're like, oh, I know what that means when it's an E minor 7. Oh, I remember that. And it sounds right. And so.
Well, I tried the book thing, and I learned like 3 chords.
Yeah.
And then real quick, I got the idea, you know what? You're going to do chords the rest of your life, and you're never going to learn how to play nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you hear something tell you to move on from the chords.
Exactly. And I think having either another person to play with, a person to watch play, or that's why I think videos are super helpful. But cool, man. Well,
I always used to say I hate people. So I was always in a business. I owned a health club. Everybody wanted in for free. I used to work at a casino. Everybody wanted me to make the call in their favor when something happened. So I was always like, I was a mechanic. So everybody wants the work done on their motorcycle at quarter of the price that the Harley Davidson dealership is asking. So I was always in a position where people wanted me for something.
Yeah.
So it just so happened, cynical, I kind of like didn't want people at my house.
Yeah.
So now, sitting here disabled, I got nobody coming to my house.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Oh, it's not your fault. I mean, I'd like to find the guy that spilled the oil across the highway.
Yeah.
And, I got a few choice words for him, but
yeah.
Other than that, look, God woke me up on this side of the grass this morning, so I was blessed immediately.
Yeah,
and if I wake up and I see roots, I'm going to start worrying.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I think just pick a program, kind of chug along, build a community. There's a bunch of Facebook groups that are people learning, and there's always good places to have questions. And if you have questions about stuff, you can ask me too. Sorry, man, I got to run, but this was really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you called in.
Questions because you're going to come across a couple of mine. Maybe I figured calling in was the best way.
Good. All right, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jeremy.
See you, Flat Top. All right, cool. Well, hey, it's like 3:20. Let me. So yeah, look at the cage system. I haven't used that. I don't know what that means. I've seen it, and now too much time has passed. I'm the Andy Dwyer on that. Yeah, I'm all Nashville number for the most part, and like I'm major scale 1-4-5. Like that's usually how I dissect stuff, and it also was like after a while I just got to where like I stopped like for a long time, and you guys are probably like this. I would be playing in a band, it's like G G G G G D D. I would just literally just like bouncing ball in my head, counting like B minor G D A 2 G. Like I would just be running through it, and all of a sudden there's something like my brain changed from counting like and hearing, my brain changed to like visualization. Like all of a sudden now like it's like I see it in my head. Like I just see how a song is put together, and it's like a picture. And so that's what works best for me. But yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hit YouTube so hard you can't face lessons. Yeah, I think so. I think it's just don't meander through stuff. That's the problem, is when you're like, I want to learn this song, and you just pick stuff apart. So, okay. All right, guys. Well, let's do last questions. Actually, let me check. We'll do the last ones on here. This was my story. This is my story. Okay. So there were a couple questions that came through on... All right, there's one more phone call. Hey, this is Jeremy.
Yes, hello.
Hello, this is Special Agent Webster with the Federal Security Agency in Washington, D.C. I'm going to need a few moments of your time.
Sure.
Now, since the passage of the Patriot Act, our agency has been granted extraordinary powers in the pursuit of terrorists and other threats to national security. I'm sure you're aware of this. That includes the ability to monitor electronic and digital information exchanges.
I don't know if this is real. This might just be an actual spam call. Sure. Who's this?
Now, the reason for my call is that in the course of one of our investigations, and I cannot obviously reveal any details of that investigation, but in that course, we had reason to monitor the internet usage at your address. You understand?
Okay.
Now, the results show that someone at your address is using the internet to view quite graphic images of a sexual nature. Images that are not legal under American.
Okay. I don't know what that was. Okay. So, yeah, whatever. I don't know what that was. That's the problem with putting your phone number on the internet, which is not actually it's a Google Voice number. But anyway, sounds like Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, it was, yeah. Anyway, Mark Hopkins says, where'd you get that hat, you handsome devil? Super rad. I got this hat from Eddie Bauer, who's I got this hat from. I got this from a pawn shop or a thrift shop. But okay, here comes another one. This is the last one. Hey, this is Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy, it's Jackie from Omaha. How are you?
Jackie, good, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I was debating on calling in, and then you got that weird call, and I was like, I can't let him take that as the last call.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Hey, but question for you, man. I have two acoustics on my hand. I just bought I think it's 2021 ON21, and then I picked up a 2013 Taylor 812.
Hey.
And I want to get back into a Dreadnought.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking on selling or trading the Taylor, but kind of curious. I know you're into Guild and whatnot, but kind of your recommendations for a Dreadnought kind of around the $2,000 $2,500 range, new or used, just to pick your brain, see what you recommend.
Man, well those two are really good, but they like I can see how one like the OM21, right? OM21.
Yep.
That's a killer guitar. Longer scale length. That'll feel more like a Dread, and with the Rosewood, it'll have more bass. But that guitar is a really great kind of home bass. And then the Taylor, being a smaller body, is kind of moving you in a different direction than the Dread. So,
right.
Yeah, there are definitely some options in Guild. They're very different than like a Martin kind of sounding guitar. And I don't, in the $2,000 price range, that's not where I would head you, or like where I would think you would go. Dude, my recommendation is I think everyone should own a Gibson J45 or a Martin D18 at some point in their lives. Those are so good. And they're different enough between the two. Like the shorter scale length on the J45 makes them so fun and likable, and they just head you in a different direction than the longer scale length. Like there's something about slack strings. And then D18s are, they'll put some hair on your chest, they make you.
I've heard that.
Yeah, you just
I had a J45 for a while there. And
okay.
I got rid of it, and I kind of regret it.
Okay.
Thought about getting back into a J45, but I've always heard a D18 you can't go wrong with. So
yeah, and it's interesting. They're very similar, but it's that 3/4 of an inch different in scale length that just makes them. I don't know. D18s are wonderful and super fun, especially since 2012 when Martin did like the reimagined version of them. But it makes them. I mean, they're getting pricey. Like I keep telling people to get them. And I think people are listening to it, and then lots of other people are finding out because they're hard to find under $2,000. I had a hot streak. I probably owned 8 of them between 2014 to 2019 for $1,200 to $1,600, $1,800, and now
Wow.
It's really hard to find them underneath that.
Not no more.
Yeah. It's like Larave's. Like I talked about how like Larave's are amazing and they're super undervalued. And now like most of them, they use my videos to like sell them for $1,200 and $1,500. But yeah.
Well, hey man, I won't keep you. I know you got to get on to the questions, but just want to say thanks, man. I've been watching you for a long time. I really enjoy your videos, and you know I'm in the military, and when I travel and I'm on the road and I deploy, I always find comfort in and seeing what you put out there. So keep it up, man. Really appreciate it.
That's good.
Look forward to all the new videos coming out.
Cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for your service.
Hey, thank you, Jeremy.
All right, buddy. All right. So much. But, okay, I'm going to have to run here in 1 second. But Jansen had a great question. You might have already asked this. Jansen here in the chat and also on Instagram said, what's the highest value guitar you've played? I played... I can't remember the brand. It was in the thumbnail of a video when I went to Carter Vintage. It was a copy of, okay, hang on. I know the actual answer to this. So the first one I was thinking of was like a $35,000 guitar that I played. It was a copy of a Martin D45V, but it's like the Woody Guthrie kind of guitar. Hank Williams, not Woody Guthrie, Hank Williams. The other guitar that I've played that is absolutely the most expensive guitar I've ever personally played. It was one of the first times I met George Gruen. George said, "Hey, New Orleans." He always called me New Orleans. I saw him a couple weeks ago. Still called me New Orleans. But he invited me up to the second floor to his office at Gruen in Nashville. And he's like, "I know you." He's like, "I have a guitar you have to play." It's a guitar that Hank Williams played at Mardi Gras in 1939, and he played it in the Endymion Parade, and it's a D18, and I played it, and it was amazing. This is a pre-war D18, so great, so light, really loud, really fun to play, and after I had been playing it for a couple minutes, I looked at the price tag, and he was asking $210,000. And it was just crazy. So anyway, anyway. What? The links to Sweetwater are broken? That can't be true. I hope it's not true. They all start with like IMP. But keep trying some of them. If not, add HTTPS : they should work. I tested them last week. That's frustrating. Anyway, so we got to run. This has been a long live show. Lots of people here. This has been super fun. And thanks so much for everybody hanging out. So this video is I just opened up this microphone. Still smells. It smells like my BB gun from high school, but I think it's just because of the foam that's in here. But this is a brand new microphone. It's the twin to my RE20. I just want to take it off the stand over here. But this video is sponsored by Sweetwater because they're dear friends of the channel. They support me. They do great work, and I really like them. I'm incredibly thankful for their. If you're going to start a YouTube channel and if you want to have a partner that believes in you, Sweetwater's a good one. And so they just do really good stuff for me. And, even me, I'm not a huge new gear guy, but I like Sweetwater a lot. So also, this video is brought to you by my course, Write Guitars Faster. Write Guitars Faster is 19 videos. It's an online course. It will teach you everything you need to know on how to buy the right guitars, what questions you should be asking yourself when you walk in a guitar shop. Number two, it's going to teach you, there's all kinds of stuff. I will teach you how to deal with people in a guitar shop, how to deal with people online, how to deal with people in person, how to get the best deal, negotiation, all of that. I'll also teach you how to sell guitars because unfortunately you're going to buy the wrong guitars here and there. And when you do, you're going to need to emotionally recoup. And then I'm going to teach you how to write really good descriptions, how to take really captivating pictures and learn guitar photography. I'm going to teach you how to read verbal and nonverbal communication when you're selling to people. There's so much that will help you in this section. And then the third one is I'm going to teach you how to gather that collection of guitars so that when people look at you, they're going to know who you are, what you value, and they're going to set you up on how to make the right music. So guitar-hunter.teachable.com. There's a link in the description down below. It's $147, and there is no possible way that it won't save you thousands of dollars if you're trying to build a meaningful guitar collection, if you want to buy and sell cool guitars. If you're okay just having 4 or 5 guitars that they're okay, they're fine, and you don't feel any ambition to grow or kind of express yourself through it, that's fine. Don't get the course. But we spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on this, and it would mean a lot for you to buy it. So anyway, yeah, guitar-hunter.teachable.com. And I'll come over here for a couple comments, and then we're done. $210,000. It was a bargain. It was. Yes. I remember, like, that's almost as much as our house cost. That's more than we paid for our house. Don't drop it. Don't freak out. Be cool. So, anyway. Peace, y'all. Have a good weekend. Yeah, thanks, everybody. How would you compare the sound of a D18 to a D28? D28s are, okay, so one is a kind of a round, gentle EQ with a little push in the mids. So a D18 is about the same volume from the bass all the way through the mids to the trebles. It's about the same volume. It's better, in my opinion, for singers, especially singers that aren't particularly loud. That's where I fall. A D28 is a punchy, bassy, and trebly scooped EQ. It is good for lead playing. It's good for really loud guitar playing. It's good for loud singers. It's big, boisterous, bold, loud compared to something a little more settled. Anyway, Wes.
Are you live on YouTube?
And Facebook and LinkedIn.
Are we talking right now live?
You are. So you're not watching. I thought you were a friend.
No, I was. I am watching.
Yeah, man. Do you want me to call you later?
No, I saw YouTube thing that says call me, and it said live. I was like, well, this could be fun.
Dude,
am I supposed to say long time listener, first time caller? Is that how this works?
Yes, it is. I had a weird call a couple minutes ago. I'm trying not to dwell on it, but it was weird. But only one. Everyone else has been great.
Hey, good. So, where you live? You tell all your people how to help me find a good 7-string Dean in the hills of North Georgia?
Yeah, well, if you head over to Dothan, most pawn shops.
Genesis 37:17, and I heard them say, "Oh Lord, let us go to Dothan."
Is that true? I think Dothan.
There's
Yeah.
a Joseph statue downtown Dothan that has that verse inscribed in it.
That's
and
amazing.
In fact, up until just several years ago, the local paper had that verse just under. It's called the Dothan Eagle, and had that verse underneath the title of the paper.
I mean, I always kind of think of like, and Tom Segura has a joke about it, but like the balls on Paris, Tennessee, to have a small Eiffel Tower. Bonjour, welcome to Paris.
Hey, now I'm watching live while we're talking. So
there you go.
Yeah. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. So if you guys don't know, Wes is a dear friend of mine. We were Story Brand certified guides. He's a great marketer, great guitar player, and hilarious. He's one of the people he's on my short list of people that I just find deep joy in my friendship with him. So anyway.
Hey, if I didn't have to be sad every time I texted you because you had the green text bubbles with your Android, I would FaceTime you right now and show you my Martin.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, sorry. I'm an Android guy from way back.
That's sad.
It just works so much better. Like, I don't know how, especially being like a marketer. For me, it's like Google everywhere. It's just easy.
Yeah. I didn't have anything to say. I just thought I'd call live.
Yeah, man.
I know your YouTube people. I wish I had a guitar thing. Every time I watch your videos, I think I need to go on Facebook and buy some crap.
Yes.
And then I think, no, I don't.
Yeah, your wife appreciates that second sentiment.
I will say I did watch a video the other day. It was a clip of Jimmy Page playing the intro to Whole Lot of Love. Jack White and The Edge are watching it.
Oh, yeah. That's from, what's that documentary? It Might Get Loud?
Yeah.
Dude, I love
They're
that.
watching him, and then I thought, because I'm so gullible, I thought I need a Les Paul.
That's the only thing between me and Jimmy Page. We'd be the same.
Identical. You'd be an old British man.
Yeah.
With your Colonel Mustard beard.
It's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. Cool, man.
All right, well
I think that this is the right way. This is the right way to close the show. Just a dear friend calling in. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.
See you, Jeremy. Bye.
Yeah, dude, Wes is so good. He and I, you ever just meet somebody that you like feel like, oh, we are brothers. Like we are just and Wes and I have a million things that we don't have the same experience, but in some ways we really kind of grew up at the same time in the same place. And we both understand and appreciate redneck culture, redneck food culture, and just growing up in the South. Even though I feel like I'm more hillbilly, he's more Southern. But anyway, this was so fun. This was really great to hang out. And so we're going to keep doing this. I'm going to start rotating, I think, next week, or I'm starting to try and put the thumbnails out and schedule the things on Monday so that there's more people that kind of get to see and hang out. But we're going to do like a Rate My Gear. We're going to start rotating between Rate My Gear, something topical, a call-in episode, and just kind of get to where we build more community. So anyway, join the channel if you're interested. If you do, you get early access to stuff. And so anyway, I want to go back. There was another super chat, like a $20 super chat that it happened right before a call. This one. Dan says, I played too long today. My finger calluses hurt, and I can't play for a while. So the best next thing is listening to you talk about the guitars. Man, that's so good. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Go fill the world with music and friendship. Be kind to people that, that's what I'm just thinking about. Flat Top. He's due to just people haven't been kind to. Things have been hard. And, he's on a great like friendship or great meaning in guitar playing, but he needs musical friends. So be aware of people that are going on in your world that might need affirmation, kindness, just awareness that of their suffering and what's going on in them. So anyway, this is super fun. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you guys soon. So, all right, have a good weekend. Bye, everybody.